hella easy, right? Because becoming a single parent, and it's taken me 2 years to create softness in this kind of a way for myself, to like let some of that shit go. Like sometimes you want to do the more time consuming, more well thought out meals. And also, like, let me tell you what's not fun is when you want to do that and you know that you're taking on too much, and it's probably not a great idea, but you fucking push it anyways. And then dinner results in like tears, and it's like burning on the stove because you knew it was too much. You know what I mean? And so
right. Like there's a meeting yourself where you're at element.
That's what we did yesterday. I was like, you know what? All of us have like desperately needed to just like reconnect and ground back in to like our cozy little space. And so I made fried rice because I know that everybody loves it. It takes me 15 minutes. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Fried rice is so underrated. If you're making fried rice how it should be made, fried rice is fire. I don't feel like it's a like a phone it in kind of meal.
You are, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here.
I feel like folks do not appreciate fried rice the way that it should be appreciated.
There's literally like, I feel like that's an episode of Ugly Delicious.
Yeah.
When they, talk about how people often view like Asian cuisine as like hangover food.
Right.
Or, like or like stoner food. And because, sure, like, your orange chicken,
that's
whatever.
What people associate.
But that, yeah. And like, but really, like there is nothing quite as comforting or like
satisfying
and like
hits all the markers.
Yeah.
Fried rice, man.
Fried rice.
And you can do so many variations of it too. I really like making fried rice for breakfast with like a bunch of spring onion, a runny egg, bacon.
Yes.
Like fry the rice and get it real crispy in some of the bacon grease. Come on.
Like, why would anybody deny themselves the pleasure of crispy rice?
Why?
That is really sad to me.
Yeah.
Like we used to, when I lived in South America, weirdly enough, there's a relatively large Korean population in Paraguay.
Okay.
And there was this Korean restaurant that we would go to every time we were in the capital. And oh my God, like I still think about it.
Like they serve it in like almost like a molcajete
type of vibe. In like a clay pot vibe. And if you got the bibimbap, like
you could get it crispy.
You could get it in the clay pot, and it was like all crispy on the bottom, and it was so good.
Yes.
And I think about the way that like Samin talks about tadig.
Yeah,
which I want to learn to make. Yeah.
Okay, so we're adding it to the list. Maybe that's what I'm actually gonna restaurant for next queer dinner.
But yeah, crispy rice.
Anyways, so
anyway, it's good.
That's what I ate.
So yeah. So you said, you needed a day. You needed a win.
I needed
You needed like softness and stillness, and
I needed it to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right? Like you needed to let go enough that the expectations were low.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to keep it simple enough to like set yourself up for success.
Mm-hmm.
And you needed to like really meet your family where you were at.
Yep.
And you did that.
Yep.
Which is also something that kind of all of us did this week.
Yep.
Specifically with you.
Ugh.
We kind of benched you.
I got benched from like my job, my life. Everyone was like, they put baby in the corner.
We put baby in bed, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So what?
Say more.
What was, so for context, Ava wasn't feeling well last week. And so I said, screw this. You're going back to bed. I'm running the market on Saturday.
Yep.
And our other friends said, absolutely not. You're not making an extra dish for queer dinner. Delegate. Which is not Ava's strong suit, in case anyone was wondering. And you did it. You put up a little bit of a fight.
I did.
But you did it. How did it feel to be benched?
Well, being being benched is notoriously hard for me because I can't even bench myself, right? So if I'm getting benched, it's because somebody's benching me for sure.
Well, if you're getting benched, it's because it's past the point where you should have benched yourself.
Right, yeah. So I think that, like, while it was hard, you know, what this year in general has taught me, and I continue to come back here, and I'm sure that you remember me telling you this, and I've talked about it several times, but the first time that I met with Cooper back in January, Cooper is a local non-binary Jewish witch, and
it's also one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen.
Is so
life.
I mean,
oh
like,
my god,
like beautiful inside and out,
just like on
sure.
every level.
On every level,
I want to listen to them talk all the time, and I
Mhm.
want to gaze into their beautiful eyes.
They are like such a treat. But one of the things that they told me was like, all I see for you this year is community. Like, that's like, I just see you like active in your community, with your community, in your community, and tell me that they didn't just like nail it on the head.
Yeah.
Between like farmers market, you know, the market that I own, Offbeat, our queer community, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I think this past week you really tapped into the part of community that is like, you are very, like, it is a very natural role for you to take on, to be the caregiver and like the rallier in community. And you were really asked to take on a different role in community and be the one that got loved on and taken care of a little bit, and like let the people come to you rather than, you know, roll out the red carpet for everybody. And
I think it still is, right? Like, it's still so hard. Even Anaya this morning was like, you know, how's your body feeling? How's the pain? Is it better? Is it worse? And I'm like, I don't know. You know, like, I really, especially now that the kids are home, it's like, it's not an option anyways. Like, even if it was the same, or if it was worse, like, I can't access that right now because, yes, I know that I could maybe do a better job and like tapping into my body, but that doesn't feel available. You know what I mean? But so I still don't love it. I still don't like it. But the fact that it's there, the fact that I know that, like, not only am I physically being looked out for and comforted and cared for, but like my fucking business is. And like, and you were there, and, you know, I'm like, that's the kind of shit that sticks with me. It's not so much like, oh, I got to lay in bed. I don't love that, you know, but the fact that I know that, like, someone has my back, someone has my partner's back, someone has my kids' back, that's the kind of shit that matters to me and feels like so good and soft and safe, and is not something that I am historically used to on like a consistent kind of a basis.
Totally.
Or also without like conditions, you know?
Yeah.
And so it feels, you know, that part feels fucking good to know that, like, you know, when I'm like, I think my body's broken, that the folks that I love the most are going to spring into action and be like, dope, what are we going to do about it? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Instead of constantly feeling, I mean, because this is like the hill that I was born and raised on, was like, you bootstrap and you figure your shit out yourself.
Yeah. I think, you know, we've talked about this, the idea of like trust being two sides of a coin, right? Like, we trust people to keep our like secrets safe, and we also have to, like, the other side of that is trusting other people that they're like telling us the truth.
Yeah.
And I feel like community is very similar in that one side of that is being in community and showing up and, you know, taking care of other people and cultivating these spaces. And I feel like that's the role that you fall into really naturally. But the other side of that coin is being in community and letting it be a space of care for you rather than you being the one giving that You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
like,
I think what's triggering too is, I don't know if you realized, but I literally got diagnosed with my hernia a year ago.
That's right.
Last week.
Oh shit.
So I'm like,
Dude.
what is it about September?
Also, it makes sense that you were feeling like crap because, like, trauma anniversary, your body's like, well, we got real sick this time last year, so we're gonna shut the fuck down.
Well, and I had, my community did not look the way that it looks today.
No.
And so, and even last year was like a very stark reminder of like, bitch, you're alone. Bitch, you don't have anybody. Like, you're gonna, because I hadn't even let you necessarily, I mean, you knew, but I wasn't in a position to let you in that kind of a way.
Yeah.
I was still feeling
we weren't there yet.
Very closed off to not you personally, but just like in general as a whole. Yeah. And yeah, I've been thinking a lot about when I got, I'll never forget my doc being like, well, we can't get you scheduled for surgery until the last day of December. And so just like in the meantime, make sure that you're not lifting any more than like 10 or 15 pounds. And at the time I was like, okay, well, my son is like 20 pounds, has literally just started walking within the last couple of months. Like, that baby is still on my hip all the time. I'm like, that's not really an option
here, buddy.
And I mean, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I experienced a lot of pain because it wasn't an option. And so to wake up and be like, holy shit, my body's really mad, and it still is. I still don't know what's going on, but I did go to the doctor. Everybody is welcome.
I was ready to throw her a parade for going to the damn doctor.
Truly. Everybody was like, oh my God, she went?
I was on the phone with the UCLA marching band. I swear to God.
Anyways, I went to the doctor, was still waiting, but how comforting it is. And still, it's like still so hard for me to lean into that. But like, if they called me tomorrow and were like it's crazy or it's terminal or like whatever.
Oh my God.
That's not funny. But also the point of that is like somebody would like have my back. You know? And like I am aware of that now.
Yeah.
And it feels
good.
And it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we, like, as people who are really community focused, it's really easy for us to get like wrapped up in the pleasure of and like joy and like I don't know, it feels like a group hug.
Yeah. When you're like
kind of
showing
energy,
up for your community.
Right. When you're like showing up for your community and you're taking care of your people. And I think that over the past couple of weeks, both of us have kind of been asked to try to find pleasure in being the ones that our community takes care of.
Yeah.
And that's like certainly a challenge.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice reminder that is something that we also need and deserve and
can access
and
when we need it.
And also like need to give ourselves permission to just sit in.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that I still struggle with. It's not the act of like, somebody else making the dish that I was supposed to make. For me, it's like definitely the emotional piece of knowing that like it's safe.
Yes.
I'm not going to be punished.
Right.
Nobody's going to be like, oh, I mean, remember when like Ava said that she would make a thing and then she didn't? Like,
and it's never going to be that like tit for tat.
I did this thing, so now you need to do this thing. Right.
Like we're not keeping score.
And I think that is like, that's what allows me to access pleasure in letting people care for me or my business or my kids. It's like the concept that this is like a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find pleasurable.
Yeah, it's nice.
I don't like being benched, but I do like knowing that my community loves me that much.
Yeah. Yeah, we love you enough to
be like, you're being a dumb bitch.
Yeah, to tell you when to shut up and
to sit down.
And to go to the damn doctor.
I did. It was dumb.
I know, you did.
I had to take so much of my blood.
Yeah, well, Gross.
I didn't even barf.
Proud of you.